Good morning, everybody. Welcome to everybody who's zooming in from near and from far away, and even including other galaxies. I bid you welcome and good cheer and live long and prosper. My name's Pam Kilberg, and I'm one of the trustees. And I'd just like to take a moment to welcome everybody who's joining us today, whether you've been with us a short time, a long time, a medium long time, or absolutely eons and eons and eons. Anyway, if any of you are guests, we're thrilled that you're here. And at the end, we're going to have time for some announcements, introductions, and virtual coffee hour. So I hope you enjoy yourselves, and cheers. Welcome.
Hear these words for our chalice lighting from contemporary author Kate McGann. True, it ain't over till it's over. And when it's over, it just begins again. True, it ain't over till it's over. And even when it's over, it just begins again. Welcome to our Easter service. Resurrection, it's the way of the world. Come into this place of peace and beauty, and let its silence heal your spirit. Come into this place of prophecy and wisdom, and let our words and music warm your soul. Come into this place of prophecy and power, and let our collective vision heal your heart. May it be so. It is so wonderful to be together today and to have this joint experience. I'm Mellon Kennedy, and it's my honor to serve as the minister of the Springfield Unitarian Universalist Meeting House. And this is a joint effort with the Wethersfield Church. And we have members of the Wethersfield congregation who are in our church. So there's Will. Hey, Will, good to see you. Glad you're here. Will is the minister for the church in Wethersfield, Vermont. And you just heard Tina on the organ. Wasn't that fabulous? Tina plays for both us and the Wethersfield Church. And Sharon is our chair of the Worship and Music Committee. She's in the sanctuary there. There's Sharon. So it's so great. There are so many difficult things in this past year. One of the wonderful things has been the collaborations that this has brought us. So it's really, really great to be doing this together with Wethersfield. Deb, can you pop up the picture of the Wethersfield Church real quick? I think we have it ready to go. So I hope that all the great things that have come, there it is. Isn't that beautiful? And that's the Civil War Memorial right in the front right out front. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous building. Really special. So before too long, and God willing, you all will be in there again, and hopefully our church will join you as well, and we can do some Zoom stuff together. So whatever challenges have come this year from this interesting ride that we've had, there's also been some great blessings, and may we remember and lift up those blessings. And I hope this is just the beginning, and we don't have to end our collaborations and our with the Wethersfield Church as the virus situation calms down. Let's keep in touch, and let's keep collaborating, and all the good things in your life that have come from the lockdown and the virus, may they continue, may they go on into this coming year. And I'm outside, as you can see, and all around, the green blades are shooting up. The water, you can probably hear it. The water's dripping off the roof. We're in the glory, the glory of it all. So, resurrection. I so appreciate, Will, that as in the weeks and in the past several weeks, as you and I have been talking in preparation for today, that you offered the name of this service, that resurrection is the way of the world. I love that. And it truly is. Even it ain't over till it's over. And even when it's over, it just starts again. We are part of this divine turning, this divine cycling of the beauties of the elements of the earth and the cycling within our own souls. And I've got my special gown on today. And as you probably remember, it's a calendar. So this, at the center, is the sun. And the circle around the center is the pathway of the earth around the sun. And the cross is symbolic of Jesus and his life and his passing and his resurrection. It's also, can you see the figure of the woman in there? Her head, her beautiful dress, and her hands out. And in the center is our heart, the two places where this plane of earth, heaven to earth, and this plane of community and interaction, where they meet is in the middle. It's in our hearts. Here we are. And we are at a very, very special time on this calendar. This is summer. Then as you go around, this is fall. As the sun is moving, the earth is moving around the sun. And when you get up here, that's winter. And when you get over here, what is it? It's spring. It's where we are now. And Easter is a date just a little past spring, the first Sunday after the first full moon, after the equinox. So here's the equinox, and here we are. We are traveling around the sun together. Here we are. And the big thing, when you get to this point, and you live in the northern hemisphere, what goes on here the big melt. We're in it. When water goes from its solid state into its liquid state, and miracles happen. Miracles happen when that point, when the water becomes available again. The word resurrection, resurgence is one possible interpretation. And the surge is the water. Woo! like a surge of a wave, and it's coming through us. Oh, I see a cardinal. Beautiful. The surge of the water coming up and through, reviving everything. So feel it in your own self. Those cold places that were stuck, feel the water melting them away, melting them away. And we are on our way towards summer, to the abundance, the abundant time of the year. So welcome to this sacred journey around the sun that we are doing together. I'll come back to this later in my reflection. So glad you're with us as we circle around the sun. And what's it all about? I said that the two planes, this plane from heaven to earth, in this plane of connection with all humans, all life, they intersect in the middle, don't they? Which is our heart. What's it all about? This whole miraculous cycling and unfolding at the center of the whole thing. What it's all about is love. The resurgence of love that revivifies our bodies, our hearts, and our minds. Love. Love. Sometimes churches get caught up in really complicated doctrines about you have to think this way or believe that way, and oh, you're wrong, and oh, you're love. Boil it all down like the sap that's flowing in the trees right now. Boil it all down. What do you get? Maple syrup, you get love. So join me in the words for our affirmation. Jelaine has a beautiful slide there for us. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, this part. To seek knowledge and freedom. To serve the needs of all beings to the end that we shall all grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and the source of our beings. It's all about love. Thank you so much. And Sharon is going to show us some of what's on the altar right now. As this water is going from a solid state into a liquid state, and it's surging through, everything, we have some beauty. And so, Deb, can you highlight, spotlight Sharon so we can see those beautiful flowers? And thank you, Jelaine, for bringing some of the flowers to the sanctuary, and also Sharon. Sharon had some forsythias for us. There it is. Yeah. So the bulb, holding all that energy inside. And when the conditions are right and the water starts and the temperatures and the movement and the connection with the planet, here they go, bursting forth. And how about you? Are you ready to burst after this crazy wild year? Are you like that? Those flowers in that bud ready to take off? Let us sing to the power of the bulb. And Jelaine and the choir has prepared a beautiful, beautiful song for us. Together. Thank you. So Will and I have been in conversation for, a month or so, several weeks, about today and Easter, and resurrection is the way of the world. So Will, how about if you go first? You ready? You up for it? And I think you can probably take your mask off, right? Yeah. Sharon's behind you. Yeah, cool.
There's a poem that my mother used to love to recite. It reflects on the theme we've just been talking about. It's called Talking in Their Sleep. You think I'm dead, the apple tree said, because I have never a leaf to show, because I stoop and my branches droop, and the dull gray mosses over me grow. But I'm still alive in trunk and shoot. The buds of next May I fold away. But I pity the withered grass at my root. You think I'm dead, the quick grass said, because I have parted with stem and blade. But under the ground I'm safe and sound, with the snow's thick blanket over me laid. I'm all alive, and ready to shoot should the spring of the year come dancing here. But I pity the flower without branch or root. You think I'm dead, a soft voice said, because not a branch or root I own? I never have died, but close I hide in a plumy seed that the wind has sown. Patient, I wait through the long winter hours. You'll see me again. I shall laugh at you then, out of the eyes of 100 flowers. Resurrection is the way of the world, and it's more than just going in a circle, because it's growth and it's progress, and it's things, as we just sang in that song, that we can't even predict now about what will come from our lives or our deaths. I think of so many examples. The example that the Christian church celebrates at this time of year, which is out of the death of Jesus came a movement that circled the world. If you remember the musical Jesus Christ Superstar, there's a scene in that where Pilate is singing about his dream that's haunting him because he sees this crowd that's demanding the death of Jesus, but then he's seeing hundreds of millions calling out this man's name after his death. Think of some of the other figures from literature whose resurrection we celebrate. The end of A Tale of Two Cities that talks about as Sidney Carton heads to the guillotine, the impact that his sacrifice, that his giving of his life gives to his descendants and to the country that becomes free as a result of the changes that come after the French Revolution. Think of the song that I first heard when Joan Baez sang it, I dreamed I saw Joe Hill last night. Joe Hill says, I never died. Takes more than guns to kill a man. Wherever there are people fighting for their rights, as Tom Joad says at the final scene in The Grapes of Wrath, what can come about because of sacrifice of human beings is much more than anybody could dream. I wanted to do a little research about Joe Hill when I was thinking about that song and realized that it was sung by, or was written by a fellow named Earl Robinson, who co-wrote with a fellow named Millard Lampell a song poem that was a big part of my growing up about Abraham Lincoln. And the same theme appears in that, The Lonesome Train, that Lincoln talks about how I'm not dead, I'm living on through all the lives of the people I touched. Think of the final scene, if you remember it, in Schindler's List, where the sacrifices and the risks taken by one man, Oskar Schindler, resulted in saving the lives of hundreds and hundreds of Jews who appear in that marvelous scene across the whole movie screen, coming up over a hillside, celebrating his life. Resurrection, we're reminded by this time of year when life is coming back into what looks dead, the apple tree, the dead grass, the flowers. We're reminded that what is going to come is an abundance that's much more than what was before. The apple tree creates all those apples that have seeds in them, and even though I don't understand why they don't grow, it's been explained to me many times, but the other things grow from a little seed, and Jesus talked about that with the example of the mustard seed that gives way to a huge plant. Throughout our lives, we have the chance, as we move forward, to touch tens and dozens and hundreds of people and have our message be transmitted to everybody else. And we're reminded, as we are in so many ways, by the nature around us, of the wonderful potential that is within us in our human nature as we go out into the world and touch others. There's another poem of this time of year that I want to read just in closing what I want to say that was another favorite in my growing up. And it's one called The Red Wing by Bliss Carman. I hear you, brother, I hear you down in the alder swamp, springing your woodland whistle to herald the April pomp. First of the moving vanguard, in front of the spring you come, where flooded waters sparkle and streams in the twilight hum. You sound the note of the chorus by meadow and woodland pond, till one after one up piping, a myriad throats respond. I see you, brother. I see you with scarlet under your wing, flash through the ruddy maples, leading the pageant of spring. Earth has put off her raiment, wintry and worn and old, for the robe of a fair young sibyl, dancing in green and gold. I heed you, brother. Tomorrow I too, in the great employ, will shed my old coat of sorrow for a brand new garment of joy. This is the time to celebrate how out of death and destruction comes beauty that we can't even contemplate until we see it. Resurrection is the way of the world, and we're part of it, and it's something to celebrate and take joy in at this time of year each year. And as we come out of what we've gone through in the last year, think of the wonderful things that perhaps we can't even predict, the things that we've been able to experience that we never tried before, that we had to try in the course of the last year, that maybe will make this coming year even better than we can ever have dreamed before. But thank you for letting me be part of this celebration today. And I may have some more things to say after Ellen talks a little bit.
Thank you so much, Will. And certainly, as I said a few minutes ago, one of the joys for me that has come out of this is collaborating with you and the Wethersfield Church. And it's been such a blessing. And we wouldn't have done it without the stresses of the past year. And may we continue. As Rumi says, where there is ruin, there's hope for a treasure. Where there is ruin, there is hope for a treasure. It's been pretty interesting in this past year, hasn't it? That so much of who we thought we were, so many of the things we were engaged in, they fell away, they died. They receded from our lives. Maybe you had the identity, the thought that I'm the person who goes to work at such and such a place, and you're not working there anymore, or you're working but not there. Or maybe you thought your identity was you're a person who volunteers with such and such group, and you're not able to do that anymore. Or maybe part of your identity is you think you are involved with certain kinds of activities and you have not been able to do them anymore. And so parts of you have fallen away. What's left? What's left? As you shared with us on those beautiful, beautiful poems, Will, in the plant kingdom, in the Northern Hemisphere, so much dies off. The leaves, the flowers, gone. But what remains is the essence of that plant. Underground, sleeping, in the roots, it's still itself. Its essence is still pure and there. And for all of us in this year, it's brought us the challenge and the gift of letting go. And it's brought us an opportunity to come home to our essence, the depth of our being. Who are we really? Not the externals of all the activities and the identities and the ego. There's something more. You're not that. You're not that. All the things you thought you were, you're not that. Who are you really? There is an essence in each of us, a spirit, a connection with source. And I have my hand on my heart because that's one of the places we can feel that connection with source. If it helps you, you can put your hand on your heart too and feel the depth of your own being, unconditionally connected always with love, with God, the source, Allah, the great mother, Gaia, Nirvana, truth, whatever you want to call it, beauty itself. This is you. The word resurrection, resurrection, resurrection. What does that really mean? Re is again. Sur is more or great or wow. More again. Coming back again. And the reksh part, that comes from the Sanskrit. And it means right. What has come down to us, our language of English, traces back thousands of years to ancient Sanskrit. And the sense of that word that we celebrate today in resurrection is that rectness. It means right. It means straight, not as in straight as in rigid, but straight as in direct. And it's where the word Rex comes from, king, and Regina, queen. It's where the word Raj comes from in the Hindu society, a Raj, a leader. It's where the word royal comes from. So in a way, you could say resurrection is about making right again, making straight again, making even more royal again. That you have an essence which is royal. You have an essence which is beauty. You have an essence which is perfection, which is love. And what happens to us with this beautiful, pure essence? We get involved in things and we delude ourselves. We behave in destructive ways. We get involved in activities that are not maybe worthy of us. And we are participants in societies that are up to some nonsense that is harmful or destructive. But as Will said, we can always come back. We can always, this is the way of it. Your royal self, your Raj, your Regina, your queen, your king, your spiritual, pure beauty essence is always there, buried under some false identities, some weight of silliness that you got yourself tangled up in, whatever that may be. But you can always come back home to your royal self, your spiritual self. And in the Sanskrit, it has a sense of being involved in prana, which is life. So the resurgence again of life that brings you home to your true self, your royal self, your beautiful self. So no matter what is going on in your life, no matter how hard this year has been, or this past month, or this week, or this morning has been, there is in you your soul, your spirit. And it is untouched. It is unmarred. by all that is off balance, by all that is destructive. This pure you is always there. And the truth of it, as Will said, is coming back home to your royal self. That's the way of the world. No matter what, no matter how hopeless, no matter how lost, how confused you may feel right now or in the course of this year, you will and you do and you always come back home. To your beauty. Restoration. Resurrection. Last year in the fall, we did a little ceremony. I invited you to bring some garlic. I invited you to take a piece of one of the cloves of garlic, or maybe the whole thing, and plant it last fall. Remember? If you were here, if you weren't, don't worry about it. And in planting it, plant a hope that you had for now. What is now? What then was the future, but what is now? And if you were with us in the fall when we thought about when we were at this point of the fall and had yet to traverse through the winter and the solstice and on to spring, what were your hopes back then? What did you plant when you planted your garlic, or maybe you planted a tulip bulb like my sister did? Whatever bulb, whatever you planted last fall, it's been underground, and whatever hopes you planted in your own heart, underground. And as Will said so beautifully, not dead, but really under there doing some mysterious work. And now here we are. As the bulbs that Sharon lifted up for us are surging. The hopes you planted last fall are surging too now. So I'm going to pause for a moment and ask you to remember, if you participated in our little ritual last year, do you remember what your hopes were? If you don't worry about it. Just be present with what you're hoping right now. And if you weren't part of that ritual, that's okay. Think back at the beginning of, at the fall and last summer and the beginning of this interesting year. What were your hopes? And let yourself feel your own heart and feel the sadness, the strain, maybe even moments of despair, confusion. And right now, out of all of that, what is surging up in you? What is coming to life? What is being reborn? Let's just sit with that for a minute and let ourselves feel the burgeoning of the hopes that we have planted in our hearts. Hold these hopes, these memories, really precious in your own heart. Resurrection, resurrection. Again, sure, big, more, wrecked, greatness, royalty, your regalness, the rebirth of coming home to your royal self, your true self. Not the ego self, but the self with the capital S. Your royal self. Your self connected with spirit and with who you really are. True, it ain't over till it's over. And even when it's over, it just begins again. On and on, as Will said, unfolding in more and more beauty. So Will, do you want to add anything? You're welcome to.
It's a great invitation to all of us to think about how we recreate our lives every day. How we build on what's gone before. I really hope, and I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, that as things go back to what the overused term of normal after this year that we've been through, that we take the time to create a world that's better than what it was. I've had the opportunity to talk with many customer service people over the course of the last year who are all working from home. And they've all talked about what a wonderful thing it is that they've been able not to drive an hour to an office and then find a place to park and then drive an hour home at the end of the day and deal with traffic. And that's a very visible example is sitting in front of us now, how we create a future out of the ashes of the past. Something that's available to us every day. It is the way of the world. Create the future from the dead grass of the past so that what comes forward is a flowering that's even better than what was before. It builds on the lessons of the past and moves forward into the sunlight of the spring and every day.
Thank you so much, Will. Thank you so much. Do you know who you are? Do you know that you are not all the small self, all the stuff you're involved in? You are a ray of God. You are royal. You are beauty itself. You are mystery itself. I hope the trials of this year have brought you home to the truth of who you are, have brought you closer to the mystery of your own beauty and your own being. The choir has prepared this gorgeous piece for us, Sweet Radiant Mystery. So let's enjoy this music and connect with our true self that is being reborn at every moment.
Oh, sweet radiant mystery, set us free from that which binds, beckoning the soul to oh, sweet radiant mystery. Oh, sweet fragrant set us free from darkness, beckoning the oh, sweet fragrance, open our eyes to see the that which eyes oh, sweet rain of mystery, help us hear the endless song of all that is and was and is and was and is and was and is and all that is and was and is and was and is and was and is and was
Wow, that was so beautiful. Thank you, thank you. Thank you to Jelaine and the virtual choir. I heard your voices in there, individuals. Thank you so much for that gift to us. Let's just sit in silence for a minute and reconnect with our royal selves, our true selves, our divine selves. Thank you so much for sharing that silence. Not total silence, the birds were chiming in here. Join Will and me now for a time of prayer. Spirit of life, the source, the one known by many names. Thank you so much for this gorgeous spring day. Thank you for the warming of the earth, the melting of the snow, the resurgence of the water, the burgeoning of our green, lively friends. Thank you for our bird friends who are arriving again. Thank you for our sleeping friends who are coming out of hibernation. And thank you for our friends on this call and in this community, far and near, our 2 congregations and more. Thank you for the gift of this hour outside of the busyness of our lives where we can come home to ourselves, be reborn, be resurrected. You know us so well, Great Spirit. We get caught up in a lot of nonsense, don't we? We get caught up in trivial stuff and put a lot of energy and argument and thought into it. And then we realize, oops, that wasn't right. That didn't matter. Thank you for the gift, even of this most interesting shutdown year that helped us let go of things that we might not have let go of, but we are better off for. And thank you for the small deaths that we died every day. And thank you for the truth of resurrection. That through all of the challenges, all of the deaths, all of the pains, all of the winter, yes, life surges again. And thank you for this opportunity as the earth is renewing, that we can renew our own spirits and remember our true self, not our small little ego. Gracious God, help us connect with you and remember we are rays of you. And thank you for the collaborations that have come from this interesting time, new people we've met, things we've done that we wouldn't have done before. Thank you especially for this kinship with the Wethersfield and Springfield meeting houses. Be with us as we live into the unknown of the future. Help us bring our royal selves, our best selves, our renewed selves, and create together great beauty, great harmony, great love in the year to come. And thank you for the friendship between me and Will that has blossomed in so many ways. And thank you for his words of wisdom and support for us in this time of resurrection. I hope you feel it in your heart, dear friends. Amen. Amen to what your heart is singing for. All is awakening. Don't doubt it. You are a ray of God. Don't doubt it. Your life has meaning. As hard as everything has been, feel the turning. And as Will said, not just circling around in a circle, but on and on with growth and beauty and love. The earth is awakening, and so can you. So can you. Let's sing our closing song, Lo, the Earth Awakes Again.
Lo, the earth awakes again. Hallelujah. From the winter's bond and pain. Hallelujah. Relief and darkness free. Hallelujah. To adorn this happy day. Hallelujah. Once again, the dark old days are o'er. Hallelujah. Spring and gladness are before. Hallelujah. Change and mourning into praise. Hallelujah. And for dirges and constraints. Hallelujah. Our spirits soar and sing. Hallelujah. Our hearts sing with offspring. Hallelujah.
True, it's not over till it's over. And even when it's over, it just begins again.